Hey, so I've tried making this video twice, and both times have gone way too long, so we're just going to read this, and then I'm going to give a brief synopsis of where people have a hard time. This is Measure for Measure, written by Shakespeare, and we're going to be reading a portion of the scene, which for some reason comes up a lot in Shakespeare classes or, acting classes. And then we'll kind of go back over and see where, at least when I did the class, or, people had a hard time, because it makes it a lot easier when there's internet things to help. So, Act 3, Scene 1 of Measure for Measure. Before this, what you should know is that the Duke leaves. He puts Angelo in charge. Angelo's really, I don't want to use the word saintly, but he's really hardcore Christian. We'll put it that way. Which, no discrimination against Christians, but, I'm trying to put him in the category. So he cracks down really hard on sinful activities. One of which being unwed mothers, I guess. And the penalty had been to basically kill the men for, a baby that is, born out of wedlock. And so he reinitiates this program. It's kind of like the first thing that he does. And he catches one of Claudio, and he basically decides to put him to death. Claudio is upset. He tells his best friend, well, of course he's upset, hey, tell my sister she's a nun, she'll have great influence over him. Go tell her to see if she can't talk him out of this. He doesn't really have that much faith in it actually working, but what the fuck. So Isabella, his sister, goes and visits the Duke's replacement, and he basically is instantly, I don't want to say in love, it's more like in lust with her, and basically they end up, he basically says to her, hey, if you have sex with me, I'll let your brother go. She's like, I didn't want to do, I only came here because I felt obligated. No. And she basically storms out, but he basically says, hey, meet me back here tomorrow or tonight, and we'll totally do it, and your brother will be set free. Okay? So, she goes to the prison to say, hey, this is what this asshole did. Don't expect me to do anything. She feels obligated to tell him. There's a lot of ways of playing it, so don't take what I'm saying as gospel or of anything. You know what I'm saying. It's all based on opinion. Anyway, so this is that scene. Now, or it's not really the whole scene, it's just them talking, the prison scene, or the prison aspect of the scene. Anyway, it starts out with Claudio. Now, sister, what's the comfort? Isabella, why, as all comforts are. Most good indeed. Lord Angelo, having affairs in heaven, indeed intends you for a swift ambassador, where you shall be an everlasting leisure. Therefore, your best appointment make with speed. Tomorrow you set on. Claudio, is there no remedy? Isabella, none but such a remedy to save a head, to cleave a heart in twain. Claudio, but is there any? Isabella, yes, but yes, brother, you may live. There is a devilish mercy in the judge, if you'll implore it, that will free you life, but fetter you till death. Claudio, perpetual durance. Isabella, just perpetual durance, a restraint. Thou all the world's vastity you had to be determined scope. But in what nature? Claudio says. Isabella, in such a one as you consenting to it, would bark that your honor from the trunk you bear and leave you naked. Claudio, let me know the point. Oh, Isabel, oh, I do fear thee, Claudio, and I quake. Let thou a feverish life should entertain, in 6 or 7 winters more respect than a perpetual honor, darst thou die? The sense of death is most in apprehension. You're going to need to find somebody else to help you with that word. Luckily, I didn't have to read those parts. And the poor beetle that we tread upon, in corporal sufferance, finds a pang as great as when a giant dies. Claudio. Why give me the shame? Think you I can a resolution fetch from flowery tenderness? If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride, and hug it in mine arms. Isabella. There spake my brother, there my fathers did utter forth a voice. Yes, thou must die. Thou art too noble to conserve a life in base appliances. This outward sainted deputy, whose settled visage and deliberate word nips youth head, and follies nothing new, as falcon doth of fowl, is yet a devil. His filth within being cast, he would appear upon as deep as hell. Claudio, the Penzi Angelo. Isabella. Oh, 'tis the cunning livery of hell, the damnable body of invest and covers in Penzi guard. Dost thou think, Claudio, if I would yield him my virginity, thou might be freed? Claudio. Oh, heavens, it cannot be. Isabella. Yes, he would give it thee from this rank offense, so to offend him still. This night's the time that I should do what I adore to name, or else thou diest tomorrow. Claudio. Thou shalt not do it. Isabella. Oh, were it but my life, I'd throw it down for you as deliverance, as frankly as a pin. Claudio. Thank dear Isabella. Isabella. Be ready, Claudio, for your death tomorrow. Claudius. Yes. Has he affections in him that thus can make him bite the law by its nose when he would force it? Sure, it is no sin, or of the deadly 7 it is the least. Isabella. Which is the least? Claudio. If it were damnable, he being so wise, why would he for a momentary trick be perpetually fined? Oh, Isabella. Isabella. What say, my brother? Claudio. Death is a fearful thing. Isabella. And shamed life a hateful. Claudio. But to die, and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction, and to rot. The sensible warm motion to become a kneaded clod, and the delightful spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling regions of thick ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless wind, or blown with restless violence round about the penitent world, or to be worse than worse, or of those that lawless and inserted thoughts imagine howling. 'Tis too horrible. The wearisome, most loathed worldly life of age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lay on nature as a paradise to what we fear of death. Isabella. Alas, alas, Claudio. Sweet sister, let me live. What sins you do to save a brother's life, nature dispenses with the deed so far that it becomes a virtue. Isabella. Oh, you beast, oh, faithless coward, oh, dishonest wretch. Wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? 'Tis not a kind of incest to take life from thy own sister's shame. What should I think? Heaven shield my father. My mother played my father fair, for such a warped slip of wilderness near issued from his blood. Take my defiance, die, perish, my bending down, reprieve thee from thy fate. It should proceed. I'll pray 1,000 prayers for your death. No words to save thee. Claudio. Nay, hear me, Isabella. Isabella. Oh, fie. Thy sin's not accidental, but a trade. Mercy to thee would prove itself a bawd. 'Tis best that you die as quickly. Claudio. Oh, hear me, Isabella. Okay, so checking how much time I got. Not much. Alright. So basically, there's a couple parts. I think the reason why, first off, one of the reasons why I think they pick this part in Measure to Measure so often for beginner actors to recite is because the death speech, which is basically, found the first word, but to die, by Claudio, is a really good example of the pentameter, and great visuals, you know. And I think that in general, the contrast, there's a lot of emotion in this scene in particular. I mean, Othello's kind of got similar. I mean, Othello has a lot of emotions, but it's not like this. Anyway, I'll go through real quick. I don't have very much time, so I'll just hit the major ones. A lot of people get stuck with leisure, or don't know what that is. It's when Isabella where you shall be an everlasting liger or leisure. Therefore, that word. It's in ancient times. They thought heaven was full of legions of angels, and an individual legion was not a legionnaire. Well, it was, but it was a liger or leger, whatever you want to call it. What's another one that people get stuck on? Okay, I don't have much time. There's another reason why they do this a lot, is because when they get to Isabella saying, "Oh, you beast, oh, you faithless coward, oh, dishonest wretch," that basically, if you go through it, in this particular section, or her particular lines, she uses words in the first few lines that's with a lot of big O's, and then she kind of switches over to S's and then F's, and it shows the importance of the beginning letter and how it influences it. The lines being interpreted. It's found in Shakespeare in there. What's another good example that people are usually familiar with? In Midsummer Night's Dream, there's a scene where Lysander and Helena, I don't know, they name them Helena and Hermia, I think it's Helena, are in the woods. I might actually read that later. And basically, she's trying to convince him that, she's in love with him, he doesn't love her, and she at one point starts just using almost like every other word, just like oh, oh, oh. It's like ooh and ahs, which for some reason people go nuts over. So, yeah, this is kind of the same thing. If you look through it, she's like, I'll just read it real quick. "Oh, faithless coward, oh, dishonest wretch, wilt thou be made a man out of my vice? It's not a kind of incest to be taken from thine own sister's shame. What should I think? Heaven shield my mother, played my father fair, for such, real quick, father fair, this line, basically what she's saying, according to people in general, is basically she's saying, I hope my mother cheated on my father because I don't want us to be in, of the same blood, because my father would never do this, dishonor, honor, yeah, so I know this has been real quick, and it's a lot more rushed than my other version, which I think is a lot better, but I think this is the one I'm going to have to stick with because it's hard to keep it in the allowable time. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a good play. There's not much more to say about it without going way over time, so I'm just going to say goodbye. If you're looking for more information on Shakespeare, there's a few good websites, just not even hard to find. You can just go to even Wikipedia. They got a lot of information on this. So if you're looking for interpretations and stuff like that, it's easy. Just go on the internet. In fact, I know you're on YouTube. It's easier, but just Google it. Seriously, it's quicker, it's easier, and you won't have to listen to people read things to you. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.